Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Jay. We're going to pick up where we left off um, with our last video where we created our first catalog. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to import images and how to get your work in there so we can start retouching it. So um, some of you have probably been wondering, just Lightroom when it's new to you can feel like learning a new language, especially if you're coming from the Bridge and Photoshop style workflow. It feels very different the way things are laid out in particular. Once we have images in the catalog, then I'll kind of give an overview of each of these different modules here and what they do. But for now, we'll get started with importing. We'll just keep it to that. So as you can see, there's no images here. On the left here, under the catalog drop-down, we've got 0 everywhere, and just by definition, because we don't have any images, there's nothing to put in folders. This is completely blank, so good place for us to start from. So I'm going to go down here, click on the import button, and now this is the import module. And you'll notice as you go, Lightroom generally tends to work kind of from left to right, same way in Western countries we read. At the top here, we've got to find the source where we're going to get our images. In the middle, we're going to specify how we want to move them. Do we want to copy them as a DNG? Do we want to just copy them as is? Got a few different options here. And lastly, we've got to tell it where we want to put the images. And then under this, we have all these options here for how to handle the files, renaming them, anything that we want to apply to the images while we're importing. So it's pretty logical if you know which direction to work from. So right now I have my card reader with a memory card plugged in, and 99% of the time Lightroom is going to recognize that right away, and that's what's going to just pop up by default. When you're first getting started, you may have a lot of older images that you've already got on your hard drive that you want to add to the catalog. So for something like that, you're going to have to navigate to it. So we could actually, let's go looking around. So this is just about every single image file that I have stashed in various places on my computer. But for today, I want to show you what it's like when you're coming from your memory card. That should be generally your default. If you recall from Intro to Digital, Photo 143 or whatever equivalent to that course that you had before, you want to make a habit of every time you shoot, after you're finished shooting, you want to get the images off your card as quick as possible, reformat your card, and not shoot on it, let some time pass, shoot again, and have things from multiple shoots stacking up, because you just increase the odds that you may have some files get corrupted. So if you're doing this as you should, then it kind of gets to be just habit. You shoot, maybe you don't have very much, but just get it off your card, get it in here, reformat your card, and then the next time you shoot, your odds of corrupted files is much lower. So if you're working that way, you plug in your memory card, open up Lightroom, it auto detects that there's a memory card with photos plugged in, and that part is pretty straightforward. So you can see it right here. If we did, for whatever reason, have to navigate directly to it and it didn't pop up automatically, you can see it right here under EOS Digital. The next section we have here in the import module is the center section where we have to decide how to move our files. We've chosen where they're coming from. Next we need to choose how to move them. So we've got these options: copy as DNG, copy, move, and add. Generally move and add are going to be when you're just simply transferring images from, let's say, another folder that perhaps is already on your hard drive. Maybe you've already processed the raw files. You could even use copy for that. But for unprocessed raw files, if you don't have too many, you generally want to copy them as DNG. DNG is a file format that Adobe came up with that has pretty much been recognized as the best way to archivally store camera raw files. Every camera manufacturer has their own proprietary version of camera raw, and this Adobe DNG format, which is short for digital negative, if you think of it as basically being like an envelope that contains your raw file and some of the associated data that goes with it, and it puts it into this package that is a lot easier to read across different kinds of software, particularly Adobe products, since they invented it. If you have a lot of images, and especially if you're on a set with the client and you need to speed things along, you could just choose to copy them. Copying as DNG takes roughly twice as long because it has that extra step of converting to DNG. So if you are pressed for time, you can copy to get them off your card, convert them to DNGs later. I tend to shoot probably smaller batches of images than a lot of people. Just from my background shooting film, I don't come back with as many images as a lot of other people do because I work a little slower and tend to think about my compositions more. So I have smaller batches of images, and I generally prefer to copy as DNG. And then when I'm finished with this step, it's done, it's behind me, and it's not something I have to think about again. But there are times when copy could be really handy. Um, as I said before, when our memory card is plugged in, Lightroom is going to auto detect, and it sees that we've already got these images here on the card that we haven't imported yet. But if there were some that I had already imported and they were, for whatever reason, still on my card, I hadn't reformatted it, then I would either want to uncheck them here. If Lightroom didn't detect that they were duplicates, I would uncheck them here. Or just if there was anything that I decided I didn't want to import, you could do that by clicking the check marks here. But generally, even if I have images that I know I may very likely end up deleting, I'll still import them because I'd like to take a closer look at them and see there may be something useful in them. So I don't give up on them just yet. So they'll come up here. Everything is checked already, so it's defaults to importing all of these. The next step is here. We have to tell it where to put these images.